Hello students, welcome back to my channel Science Made Easy by Shalini Kalra, and here in this video I am taking up the chapter of microorganisms for class 8 and we are going to discuss more about microorganisms. In the previous video we discussed the useful microorganisms. The link you can find in the description box and refer to that. This is in continuation with that, and here we are going to study a little more about microorganisms. So I have noted down the key points for this particular video. You can see these are agricultural use. We are going to study about degradation, spoilage of food, then preservation of food and techniques to preserve the food. So let's get started, and the first use over here, the first thing we are studying is agricultural use. Microorganisms are very useful when it comes to agriculture. You know, agriculture means growing of crops and all. So when we talk of agriculture, I have written over here one name of process, symbiosis. First, let's understand what is symbiosis. Symbiosis is a beneficial relationship. It is a useful relationship between two different organisms in which the first one is of help to the second one. That is, the first one benefits the second one and the second one benefits the first one. So it is a useful relationship, a beneficial relationship for both the organisms. Example over here, one example is mycorrhiza. Mycorrhiza is a fungus. This fungus is found in the roots of some plants, and there it takes shelter from that plant, and in turn it increases the water absorbing capacity of those roots. Therefore, both the organisms are benefited. Such type of relationship is called a symbiotic relationship. Symbiotic relationship. Another example of symbiotic relationship is the rhizobium bacteria, which we have studied earlier also in the nitrogen cycle. The rhizobium bacteria, this bacteria lives in the root nodules of leguminous plants. In the root nodules of leguminous plants, there the bacteria forms big nodules over there, and this bacteria fixes nitrogen, atmospheric nitrogen for the plant. We have studied in the nitrogen cycle, and it converts nitrogen into nitrites and nitrates, which can be used by the plants, and in turn it takes nutrition from the plant for itself and protection as well. So again, it is a symbiotic relationship. In this relationship, nobody harms each other, only they benefit each other. So these are two examples for symbiosis which we have studied. One is mycorrhiza and one is rhizobium bacteria. Then if you see, I have written one more over there, Bacillus thuringiensis. Bacillus thuringiensis. This is a bacteria, okay, and this bacteria is a toxic bacteria for some pest. So Bacillus thuringiensis is a biopesticide, you can say. It is a biopesticide because this pesticide is obtained as a living organism. It is found in the leaves of groundnut, and this can be used to destroy pests and thereby protecting the crop. So this is the agricultural use of some of the microorganisms we have discussed here. Next, let's move on to degradation. For degradation, one word, if you remember, you have studied and you are familiar with this word. The word is humus. What is humus? Humus is the dead remains of plants and animals which make the soil rich, which enrich the soil. So basically, degradation means the simplification or the breakdown, simplification or breakdown of dead and decaying matter of dead plants and animals into simpler forms by the action of microorganisms. So when the microorganisms break down the dead plant and animal matter, it degrades, it becomes simplified, and on simplifying it mixes with the soil. It is also helpful in different types of cycles because it is the degradation or the simplification of these organisms which returns the components to the atmosphere, like nitrogen. Nitrogen, on the breakdown of these animals, will be the nitrates will be converted to nitrogen, the proteins will be simplified, converted to nitrogen and returned to the cycle. And same way it enriches the soil because these decaying plant and animal matter is a source of manure for the plants. So this is another important use of microorganisms. After this use, now we come to the spoilage of food. So here we know that the foods kept open for a long time and especially during the summer season, the rainy season, humid months, the food gets spoiled very easily and we have to take care to protect the food, to keep the food in such a manner that it does not get spoiled. So what do you mean by spoilage of food? The degradation in the quality of food, that the food becomes unfit for consumption. We cannot consume it, we cannot take it. The food becomes unfit for consumption is referred to as spoilage of food. When it becomes unfit, it loses its color, it loses its moisture and taste, smell, everything gets spoiled as a result of spoilage of food. And spoilage of food is a very big wastage and it should be prevented. So first we will discuss here why the preservation of food is required. We require preservation of food for a variety of reasons. First of all, the food should be preserved so that it lasts for a longer time. You know, any particular type of food grows in one season and it has to continue for the whole year. Therefore, a proper storage, proper preservation of the food is required, that it can last for a longer period of time and be available to the common people. If we do not preserve it properly, we do not keep it properly, then the food may not be available. Then, second reason for preservation of food is that the food should be preserved so that more variety of foods is available throughout the year. For example, let's take mangoes. In the previous time, mangoes were available for a very short duration of time. But now they are available for a longer duration of time because we have worked on the preservation techniques of mango, and similarly other fruits and vegetables are also now available for mostly all the year round because they are preserved for a longer time, thereby making more variety of food available. Okay, then the next, if the food is preserved properly, the transportation of food becomes easy. Suppose there is a food which gets spoiled very quickly. Then to transport such food to long distances, in the transportation itself it will get spoiled. But if we preserve the food properly, then in the transportation it will not get spoiled and can be available for a longer period of time. Then preserving food maintains the nutritive value of the food. Spoiled food is bad for the health of the people also, and therefore we should preserve the food so that it is in a consumable form. It is in a form which is going to increase the health of the person and not cause a harm to the health of the person. So these are the possible reasons why preservation of food is required. And lastly, we will discuss all the techniques which are used to preserve the food. I have noted down a few techniques over here, you can see. Now I am going to explain these to you one by one. So the first technique here is sun drying. When we dry certain foods in the sun, then the moisture from the food is gone and dried foods do not get spoiled easily. Common example I will give you. Sometimes we dry mint. You have heard of kasuri methi? What is kasuri methi? It is dried methi, fenugreek. So when we can we keep the fresh fenugreek methi for a long time? No. We can up to the max keep it for 5 days, 10 days. But if we dry this, the moisture from the fenugreek is gone, then it can be kept for maybe a year also. So sun drying of foods removes the moisture, thereby increasing the life of the food, preserving the food. Then heating. Cook. When we boil something, boiling tends to increase the life of the food because as the temperature of the food increases, microorganisms cannot survive at higher temperatures. Therefore, they begin to die and the food is preserved. So, boiling, heating at very high temperatures is also a method of preserving the food. Next is I am taking salting and sugaring together. Whether we add salt to the food or sugar, like not to the common food which we are making, by this I mean salt in the pickles etc. and sugar in jams and all. These foods do not get spoiled easily because the salt, if present in the food, tends to kill the microorganisms which try to enter. Similarly, excessive sugar also kills the microorganisms which try to enter the food. Thereby, the food remains fresh for a longer period of time. Then we have vinegar. Vinegar, you have seen pickles which we get from market have vinegar in it because vinegar also prevents the growth of microorganisms. Then pasteurization. Pasteurization is a technique which keeps the food fresh for a longer time. In this, mainly applicable for dairy products, like we have pasteurized butter, we have pasteurized milk. What is done in this? In this, the particular food is heated up to 70 degrees Celsius quickly and then it is cooled quickly to a lower temperature and the food is packed. This prevents the food from getting spoiled. So the technique of heating the food to up to 70 degrees and then cooling it quickly is referred to as pasteurization, which prevents the spoilage of food. Then we have freezing. You know, foods which we want to keep fresh for a longer time, instead of keeping it in the refrigerator, also we keep it in the freezers because freezers have much lower temperature and such temperature prevents the growth of microorganisms. I hope you are understanding all this. Canning. Next is canning. You get tin cans. In the tin cans, the food is packed without air. So when the food does not come in contact with the air, the food does not get spoiled. So therefore it is mentioned after opening the tin can, consume it in this much days. Because once it is seal packed, it does not come in contact with the outside air. It means it does not come in contact with microorganisms and therefore remains fresh. And last is use of chemical preservatives. To certain drinks, to certain foods, to preserve them like squashes, etc. we add preservatives. I will name a few preservatives over here. One is sodium benzoate. Sodium benzoate. Then we have sodium metabisulfate. Sodium metabisulfite. Okay, sodium metabisulfite. This also prevents the food from getting spoiled. These are the methods of food preservation, and we can use any of these methods to keep the food fresh for a longer time. Keeping the food fresh for a longer time refers to the shelf life. A term is there, shelf life. And to increase the shelf life of the food, preservation of food is required. Shelf life is that period of time for which the food remains in the usable form, means we can eat that food, and that shelf life is different for different types of foods. Therefore, by using different techniques of preservation, we increase the shelf life. All these contents are interesting, must be clear to you also. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that I can prove of help to you with your studies. Share it with your friends also, and bye for now. Thank you.